All right, in this next section, we're going to talk about rhyming. And again, we're going to do a 30,000-foot overview of some rhyming techniques. We're gonna look at a few specifics, but in general, if you want to dive deeper, there are plenty of great resources out there that unpack more specific rhyming schemes and structures that you can use as helpful guides to write your songs. But again, falling back on the reality that if it works, then the rhyming is going to be helpful in as much as it makes your song believable. So in general, rhyming, which usually happens at the ends of the lines, and we'll talk about the order of some of these rhyme schemes, but rhyming in general basically acts as the thread that runs throughout your song, and it kind of anchors your song. So even when there's rhyming, two words that rhyme close to each other or within the same line, or two separate lines at the ends of those different lines, rhyming basically achieves the effect of anchoring your lyric, and it makes it feel like it is concrete, and it makes it feel like there's no other way of saying it, no better way of saying that same message that you have expressed in the lyric. All right, we're going to look at some specific examples of some rhyme schemes. And the first one is A, B, A, B. And when I say A, B, A, B, what I mean is the first line ends with an oo sound or any sound. The next line rhymes with a different sound, so it could be an E sound. So the first line would be the A rhyme, the second one would be the B rhyme. The third line would end in another oo sound like the first one. So the first and third are the A rhymes, and the last line would rhyme with an E sound, just like the second line. So first and third rhyme, the second and fourth rhyme, and that's a fairly common way of writing a verse, for example, because it's the rhymes aren't so close that they feel like they're noticeable, but they just help as you hear the four lines of a verse. It helps the verse feel like it's established and it is written the way it should be written. An example of this is Carrie Underwood's Jesus Take the Wheel. So go check out the verses in that song and you'll see an A-B-A-B rhyme scheme. The next rhyme scheme that we'll look at in this course is the A-A-B-B structure, and that's where the first two lines and the last two lines of a verse rhyme if it's a four-line verse. So you have the A-A being the first two lines, B-B being the third and fourth. And an example of this is Duncan Sheik's Barely Breathing. So if you go check out the verses of that song, then you'll hear the AABB structure. The third and final rhyme scheme that we'll look at in this course is the AABCCB rhyme scheme, and that is for a 6-line verse or chorus. In this case, we'll be looking at Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah that Jeff Buckley helped make famous. And that's, in the verses, you'll see the first two lines rhyme with each other, the third and sixth lines rhyme together, and the fourth and fifth lines rhyme together. So just as another example, I know we're kind of looking at 4-line verses, and then we'll look at a 4-line chorus in general, and a 2-line bridge, those kinds of things. So we're looking at kind of the most common of these song structures, but there are a number of different rhyme schemes, and in general, it's not even absolutely necessary or essential that you do rhyme at all in your writing. I mean, there are different styles of poetry that don't adhere to the common rhyme schemes of poetry as well. So it's important to just remember that rhyming, as long as it works, and it's better to not rhyme at all than to rhyme in a way that is obvious or seemingly contrived. The next thing we'll look at is the difference between perfect, near, and double rhymes. So we're going to look at different ways that you can actually anchor your lyric with different kinds of words at the ends of these lines. So within the A-B rhyming scheme, the words that actually rhyme at the end of those lines are going to be either perfect rhymes, near rhymes, double rhymes, or any number of other kinds of rhymes, but those are the three main that we're going to look at in this course. And the first one, a perfect rhyme, is basically exactly what it sounds like. It's two words that rhyme perfectly together. They, day and way, you can swap out the first letter and it's a perfect rhyme. So, and actually in Jesus Take the Wheel, the Carrie Underwood song, we're going to be seeing all three types of these rhymes within that one single song. And so with the perfect rhymes, we actually have pray and way in the bridge. So if you go listen to the bridge of Jesus Take the Wheel, you'll hear them rhyme pray with way. So that's an example of a perfect rhyme. The next example of a rhyme is a near rhyme. And that's basically two words that sound similar, but not perfect together. They sound close enough that they have the same vowel sounds, and they fit close enough that they feel like, yeah, that's believable in a song. And some people can pull off more near rhymes than others, and even it depends on the what part of the country you're from. Sometimes if you have a southern accent, you might be able to rhyme things in a near rhyme sort of way that other people can't. So near rhyme style basically falls into that. If it works, it works. If it's believable, then it's okay. So with a near rhyme, you'll see an example of that in Jesus Take the Wheel in the first verse, where it says Christmas Eve and back seat. So you hear how Eve and seat are the same vowel sound, and those act as a way of anchoring the lines. And when you get into near rhymes, it really opens up the possibility of things that you can say, and because popular music is full of near rhymes, it's acceptable to really kind of pick and choose the direction of your song and have more options when you get to the ends of lines and are trying to say a certain thing. With near rhymes, you're not as constrained as you are with trying to select only perfect rhymes. So just make sure that it's close enough that it's believable. And the final example that we'll look at is a double rhyme. And a double rhyme is usually, but not always, just a near rhyme. Sometimes it's a perfect rhyme. And in the case of Jesus Take the Wheel, in the first verse again, we have an example of what's actually a perfect double rhyme. And it's Cincinnati and daddy. So we have a-e. We basically have Addie from both Cincinnati and Daddy working together to really anchor that verse down. So those are just a few examples of types of rhymes that you can use within the rhyming schemes.